Hello, welcome to Epiphany number 7. 2 things that you can't outsource. There are 2 things in this business that you absolutely cannot outsource, and that is prospecting and conducting client conversations, having communication with your client. See, everything else can be outsourced, whether it's newsletters, thank you notes, portfolio design, creating the illustration, hypotheticals, doing research on the funds, all the things that advisors love to do to convince themselves they're working when they're really not. Those all could be outsourced. But the 2 things that absolutely you cannot outsource is prospecting and talking with the client, whether that's face-to-face, on the phone, video chat. That can't be replaced. See, every advisor would love, and every person we try to hire would love to have especially prospecting, taken care for them. Marketing, advertising, they want people calling in like it's a retail store. It never has worked. It doesn't work now, and it never will work. If it ever actually did, no broker dealer would need you. Right? In some ways, even more than the client conversation, prospecting is what you bring to the table. That's what you get paid to do, which is to prospect. And thank God, because if that ever did get automated, you would be out of a job. That's why when I talk to potential advisors, either coming from a different company or people that are newer, they're like, do you provide leads? No, because if I provided leads or my company provided leads, I wouldn't hire you. I would just use the leads myself. I would just sit behind a desk all day, do 4 client appointments a week, 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year, do it for 3 or 4 years and retire a millionaire. That's everyone's dream. Out of 350,000 advisors in America, none of them have a leads program that actually works, not long-term. Because if it really worked well, every broker dealer or every sales manager would just do that and never hire another advisor. Of course you want to come on board and we just give you the leads. But it's because that doesn't work, because it has to be person to person, face to face, kneecap to kneecap, belly to belly, eye to eye, or on the phone or video chat. It has to be in person. We'll call that in person to make that connection with a human being. That's why they need you. Should be thankful that can't be outsourced, because if it can ever be outsourced, you'll be out, right? So you've got to recognize that, accept it, and actually embrace it. Don't run from it. Accept it. Same thing for the client conversations. That realistically can't be outsourced either. Even if a client knows what he or she wants, they contact you. At the end of the day, the one thing that you can't outsource, or one of the 2 things, the second one is that ultimate one-on-one actual connection where you go through in detail. You can email them. You can have your assistant call them. It's not the same when you sit down and explain to them, especially when they have questions, objections, concerns. Those 2 things cannot be outsourced. And to close the session with, I think a great example is just think of a professional $1 million producer, someone that has a practice that produces $1 million or more. That's in revenue. That's not volume. Okay, that's almost $100,000 of revenue a month. Okay, that person, here's how it's set up. Okay, the only 2 things that he or she, that primary advisor, does at this point in their career is prospect for new people, and that's going to either be face-to-face or referrals, and pretty much nothing else works long-term. It's the hard truth. And 2, it's sit down with the client and meet them. Again, whether that's video chat, face-to-face, or even on the phone, it's still a live connection. Everything else is outsourced, right? Every other task in the practice, he or she has someone else doing it. Whether it's, again, creating the financial plan, printing the financial plan, emailing the plan, putting the paperwork together, getting the client to fill it out, all that stuff is handled by staff. Right. And as the bigger they get, the more and more they try to outsource or offset all those menial tasks. But I promise you, the 2 tasks that they never, ever outsource and never can outsource, and frankly don't want to outsource, is prospecting the person and then sitting down and having a conversation with that person. Okay. So embrace those 2 things. Don't try to sidestep them. Be glad. Now, one word of caution. The lesson of this epiphany is not that you should go outsource a bunch of work, because very few people in our industry and in Parsonext, as successful you are, we're a very successful company for a company that hires part-timers. We're better than any other part-time company I've ever seen by a large margin. We have part-timers that make more than full-timers in other part-time opportunities. Anyway, very few people in Parsonex make enough money and have enough activity to warrant having an assistant and outsourcing. And even the ones that warrant it, I don't know of anyone that actually do. So this is not saying, the message I'm not sending is, oh, for me to win now, I need to go get a secretary or an assistant or someone to help me outsource. That's not the message here. Okay, I don't have an assistant and I've got the biggest organization in Parsonex. The reason is because I have leveraged technology. I'm very, very, very good with technology. I know it very well. I'm a power user, been using it for 20 years. So that's my assistant. Most people don't have that. And many of you maybe someday will get one, but now I don't want you to get one. The message of this is that stop trying to avoid those two things. You're only really, really working when you're doing one of those two things: prospecting for people or meeting with the people.